Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
A palace perched atop a rock, a fortress growing out of the landscape. The Madan Mahal fort is one aspect of the wild and the wonderful magic of our land.
We are in Jabalpur, in our central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. Jabalpur is a railhead and has an airport. It is also connected by bus.
The prime attraction of Jabalpur lies 23 kilometers away and is known as Marble Rocks, at Bhedaghat, the gorge of the Narmada River. A flight of steps leads down to the river landing, or ghat. It is chill and there's a faint scent of mushrooms. Boatmen wait for customers.
The rocks of this limestone gorge are not all marble. They vary from soft white soapstone to hard black granite. No, not soapstone sculptures, living cattle egrets. Limestone and water come in many colors, and so the gorge changes its character with every creak thud of the oars. Do look down for mirrored reflections, particularly when the sun flares gold on the rocks. That wagtail behaves like a nervous smoker tapping a cigarette. That's not a snake, it's a bird, a cormorant fishing. That is a snake, and he doesn't care a hoot for us. He just lay there basking on a slab of sun-warmed marble.
Some of the sculpted rocks resemble ice cream. Coffee toffee, crisp caramel, and soft vanilla. These hard, grey granite intrusions are out of nightmares, myth and legend, and boatmen weave tales around them.
One black statue also is here. This is called Kal Bhairav. Hindu god का दो पैर एक हाथ पर बने ना काल भैरव उज्जैन में बड़ा भाई भेड़ाघाट में छोटा भाई.
That's Lord Shiva's Kal Bhairav. And here, in a grotto, are the Madonna and Child. There's even a form-changing creature, a tiger from afar, a goat nearby, the hunter and the hunted, perfectly matched. Now we came to little Scandinavia, glaciers and icebergs, and many fjords sculpted in white marble.
The currents became much fiercer now, rippling like green mussels in the deep stream. Our boatmen had to strain at their oars to fight against the force of the swirling river rushing through the high, narrow cliffs. And then the white water snarled through jagged rocks. Beyond lay the hidden fury of the Dhuadhar Falls. It was time for us to turn back. On our return journey, the marble rock stood, serene white cliffs towering over the steel grey river.
Craftsmen carved soft soapstone into trinkets, statues and boxes, and a wide range of souvenirs. Few visitors return from Marble Rocks without gifts for the folk back home. They even make three-dimensional portraits of Marble Rocks using real rocks.
The falls are a short drive from Marble Rocks. You can hear their roar long before you see them. Some of the water has been diverted for visitors to paddle and bathe in. Even here, however, we had to be very careful. If you walk too far out to the edge, it might be difficult to get back.
The falls are magnificent. Raw, unleashed titanic power. Whipped by the wind, the spray is a cloud of cold mist, an extravagance of smoke. Dhurda. The currents are like coiling serpents, whipping and striking. And this man challenged them. We searched for him in the maelstrom. A devil's cauldron, seething, surging, snarling. And then he emerged, triumphant. We left as the flow of the Narmada fled to Marble Rocks.
We returned early next morning to Bhedaghat and to the strange temple of the Chausat Yoginis. It is dedicated to the various forms of the mother goddess. Scholars believe that this was a 10th century tantric temple. Tantra is a difficult discipline which seeks enlightenment through heightened sensory experiences. Scholars also admit that it was probably a shrine long before it evolved into its present form. It is just the sort of place that Stone Age men chose for their temple fortresses.
The Panch Mata temple in Bhedaghat brought us back to the present.
The present is the view of Jabalpur from Madan Mahal, the palace on a rock. The Gond ruler Raja Madan Shah designed this redoubt in 1116, 900 years before world-famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright evolved his organic architecture.
The present is also the Kalchuri seal, displayed in the Rani Durgavati Museum in Jabalpur. We were particularly interested in the 3 galleries devoted to the faiths which flowed into the Indian way of life. Followers of the austere Jaina faith expressed themselves in these forms. The devotees of Lord Vishnu created these superb exhibits. The worshippers of Lord Shiva crafted these sculptures.
What was fascinating was the way the craftsmen of the powerful Kalchuri dynasty depicted celestial couples. Lord Shiva, interrupting his consort Parvati dressing her hair, tilts her chin up tenderly. Lakshmi presses her face close to Lord Vishnu. Swaha sits on Agni's lap. The expression of such tender emotions was typical of the early Kalchuri art. The Kalchuris stayed in Jabalpur for many generations, making it their capital.
The best accommodation in Jabalpur is in this state-run hotel, where the room tariff is 450 rupees AC double.
From Jabalpur, it's 195 kilometers to the Bandhavgarh National Park. You can also get there from the railhead at Satna, 120 kilometers from the park. Taxis and buses link both the railhead towns to Bandhavgarh.
We went by road and stopped for a moment to see them making tiles for the roofs of their huts. A woman mixed clay and rice husk and formed them into large balls. Her assistant, a young lad, then patted and shaped them into trays with a small ridge on either side. No mold, no mechanical process whatsoever. These tiles are then sun-dried and baked. These techniques probably predate the Indus Valley civilization.
The landscape was getting wilder, more lonely when we crossed a broad river and reached Bandhavgarh. The national park is open from the 1st of November to the 30th of June.
All acceptable accommodation in Bandhavgarh is deliberately rustic to merge with the wilderness. The tariff in this privately run resort is 1,500 per person, inclusive of all meals. This state-run hotel has its rooms raised on stilts to give a squirrel's eye view of the wilderness and its own wooded grounds. Rooms cost 490 AC double and 350 non-AC double. There are also cottages. A stream runs at the bottom of the grounds, inviting lounging during the 9 to 4 rest and relaxation period between morning and afternoon rounds.
Rounds of the forest must be made in petrol-driven vehicles, and these can be had in Bandhavgarh. There is a nominal charge pegged to every day you enter the park, not by the round.
On our morning round, a herd of sambar splashed out of a stream and crossed the road. Sambar love water and lush green water meadows. These deer can't see very well, but their scent and hearing are acute. We were lucky to spot this herd in the morning because they prefer the cool of evening.
A wilder boar charged across the road and into the jungle. Stood still behind a tree and vanished. These surprisingly intelligent animals can be dangerous. They are armed with vicious tushes like small razor-sharp tusks. We remembered Kipling's words, "Mock not the boar in his lair," and moved on.
A pale harrier winged across the landscape and then perched on a vantage point, surveying his domain. His vision spreads over more than 180 degrees, quick to spot the movement of tiny creatures scurrying down below.
A group of peafowl grazed on the road like domestic fowls. Indian peafowls were exported to Britain generations ago and are now established NRIs living in stately homes and castles.
We drove through a stand of the world's tallest grass, bamboo. They flower after a multiple-year cycle and then die. When their rice-like seeds fall, rats thrive. So do birds of prey and snakes, feeding on these rodents, re-establishing the balance of nature.
A timorous barking deer doe came down to drink. She was a little apprehensive. Her partner, a buck, kept watch for her. When he began to walk away, she bounded out of the exposed stream and, together, they hurried into the safety of the trees.
butterflies seemed to be having a fluttering convention. In fact, they had probably assembled to sip at salts. These chemicals had dried out of earth, once damped by mammals, who drink at streams and waterholes.
A short distance away, a blue jay was a sentry for its water-sipping mate. Then they left. So did we.
At the White Tiger Lodge, the Mukherjees from Calcutta told us why they had come to Bandhavgarh.
I decided Bandhavgarh only just to see the animals and also birds. So there are so many birds in Bandhavgarh, I know.
In search of small creatures like birds, we went to Bamera Reservoir, outside the national park.
Black ibis probed in the mud, then flew slowly like creatures in a dream. A lapwing cruised and settled, curiously silent. Around the reservoir there was a forest of large sal trees.
On some of the trees, a mass of dried leaves caught our eye. One of them had fallen on the forest floor. It certainly wasn't a bird's nest. And then we saw red tree ants busily at work. While a file of pincer-jawed workers held 2 leaves together, nurses made their young ones secrete liquid silk, which they threaded through the holes made by the others. Infant labor, insect style.
Then we spotted this beautiful orchid. Its web of white roots take nothing from the tree but support. Food and moisture come wind-blown. Attuned to the miracle of life, we were now ready to re-enter the national park.
The park is a wondrous realm where man is a trustee of this wild kingdom. On the afternoon round, we drove up to the mountain of the park. We stopped to marvel at a 1,000-year-old Vishnu carved out of the rock of the mountain. The spring that pours on the feet of the preserver is the source of the river Charanganga, which flows through the park.
On our way down, we stopped for a moment to get an overall view of the 450 square kilometer park. Varying between wooded mountains and deciduous slopes, dense forests and great water meadows, Bandhavgarh is an ideal haven for a rich variety of wildlife.
A herd of cheetahs spread across the green grass like a Mughal miniature come to life. 2 stags locked horns for the best grazing grounds, and females. None of their colleagues were worried about this status conflict. Another stag rubbed irritating velvet skin off his horns, getting ready to fight his own battles. Wary Nilgai were slate-grey phantoms in the distance. Young fawns were finding their feet, guided by a senior chital.
A lone peacock carried its plumes proudly. Another danced in a glade, trying to attract a disinterested peahen.
Mama Langur collected her baby and bounded away, while a white-bearded sentry snarled, "Get lost!"
Adjutant's talks looked very judicial, black robes, hunched shoulders, and unamused expression.
This bee-eater had obviously bitten off more than he could chew, and the tree pie objected. The kingfisher didn't care.
We are asked if there are any tigers here. There are. Dorothy Mukherjee had this experience in Bandhavgarh.
There's a place called Siddharada in Bandhavgarh, just a little from the gate, National Park's gate. There we saw the tiger. It descended from a hill. My eyes followed him for about half an hour.
But Dorothy was lucky.
We drove through the forest to Siddhababa. We even spotted a tiger's pug marks. But tigers are free to roam anywhere in Bandhavgarh's 450 square kilometers of wilderness. If there are 41 tigers, each big cat has over 10 square kilometers to call his own.
The Forest Department has riding elephants which can walk off the road and into the jungle. We encountered a domestic elephant calf which wasn't really all that domesticated. And then Mama came along. The State Forest Department no longer permits ordinary visitors like you and us to use elephants to see tigers.
And so, every evening, there's a traffic jam on the roads of the meadows called Chakradhar.
Most visitors return disappointed.
Sometimes, however, they are lucky. In a way, this is what we saw at 6:35 in the last hour on the last day of our visit to Bandhavgarh. Clearly, the tiger saw more of us than we of the tiger.
The tiger is only a facet of the beauty of our wildernesses and the wonder of our heritage. For over a year, our team has travelled across our land. In these 14 months, we've covered thousands of kilometers, but we've still touched only the fringes of our magnificent India. Now, a new day dawns over our wonderful land, offering another treasure trove of discoveries. But before we start traveling again, all of us must take a break.
Take a break.